Alright guys, so I'm going to show you today how to install the VE remote start. We've made a few improvements to the kit, but if you want to be able to lock, unlock and lock it, and it will start your vehicle from any of your factory remotes, we're going to show you how to do that. It's literally a 5-minute install. It's made it so easy for you guys now. We're using a lot of improvements like factory looms we've designed with factory plugs, no voiding of warranty. It'll suit all the models, including the Senator, HSVs, Caprice, G8s, Utes, Wagons, whichever style you have, you'll be able to do this remote start, and I promise you'll love this upgrade because it's so easy and one of the most affordable things, and you'll use it every single day. When it gets to hot days like this and you actually want to be able to start it and get into a cool car so it's not boiling hot, it's definitely worth it, guys. So let's run you through how to install it. Before I forget, guys, this video is for the automatic transmission models, but we have custom made for the Australian guys that is exclusive to us, a plug and play kit for the manual vehicles. I'm going to show you that in a different video, but you can do manuals and automatics, all from the factory remote and from long range remotes. I'm going to show you both ways to do it, but this video today is going to be for those automatic models out there. Alright guys, so we've made some slight improvements to this, the VE Commodore remote start. So we're going to be talking about the automatic version today, but we do have a manual kit which we designed for the Australian vehicles, and we're going to do that in another video. But today we're going to run you through some of the improvements we've made, what you get in the kit, how to use it and how to install it. It is super easy for you to do yourself, and we sell tons of this. It'll work off the factory remote as we just showed you. And honestly, I think once you have this sort of setup, you'll never go back because you'll use it every single day. So this is what you're actually going to get in the box, okay? You're going to get this. This is the main startup module, and it has been pre-programmed to suit the Commodores in Australia. So that's anything with the VE chassis, which can be the Caprice, the Statesman, the SS, the Utes, the Wagons, every single model. So it's virtually from 2005 through to 2011, late 2011, early 2012, all those models. Now, you're going to have a sticker here on the side, and this is going to be your instructions, and you want to scan this because sometimes we make updates to it, and if we've made any updates, we'll actually update it on our website here. There will be a link here if you want to type it in, or there is a QR code. And for you guys out there that don't know what a QR code is, it's just a little code you can scan like a barcode. So I'll try and do it here. If you've got an iPhone, if you just open up your camera, you can actually just hold it over the QR code and the link will come down from the top, and that will take you to the instructions on the website. All right, guys. So if you don't have a QR code or an iPhone, a QR code reader or an iPhone, you can download apps to do that on the app stores as well. So that will lead you to your instructions, which will be a video showing you how to plug it in and any other important information if we do updates to them. Now, further in the kit, this is what we've improved. We actually have a new improved harness here. This is actually been taped up to be the exact same tape that suits the car. We're going to give you some cable ties to be able to mount the module up, and also a little warning sticker that you can put on your engine bay just to alert people that you have remote start on the vehicle. Not necessary, but you can certainly do it if you want it. So this is what the loom is now going to look like. It is very simple, very easy. There's the car side and the module side, and they'll only go into one section on each. And now we're going to quickly run you through how to do the installation, how to program it to the car, because literally it's probably going to be a 5-minute job to install and program. But you know, pulling the covers off is probably the hardest thing to do, so we'll show you that first. All right, guys, so once you're at the car, you're going to open the doors, you're going to ensure your handbrake's up and your bonnet's closed. And that's just the best way to start the vehicle, because we're going to do some testing. You're going to take your key, you're going to turn the steering wheel so that it is actually upside down. All right, now that's very important because it's going to give you a bit of room here to pull the shroud off around the steering column. So I'm just going to make it there, move the seat back, plenty of room. And underneath, we're going to put the steering column down and pull it out, okay? And that makes it a lot easier to work on this vehicle. And these are the tools that you're going to need. A screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver, some cutters just purely for cutting the cable ties, and maybe a non-marring pry bar if you want something to lever with that's not going to scratch your car. We are selling these on our website now, so you can grab them off the website if you want. They're about 10 bucks, but your mum's spatula is also the same sort of thing if you need to use that. Now, underneath at the back here, if you watch where my finger is, you won't be able to see it real well. Just here is a Phillips head screw. Now you're just going to put your screwdriver up there. It's a single screw. And I'm going to try and locate it without seeing. There we go. And you're just going to undo that. And that is literally the only screw that you really have to undo while doing this installation. Very simple. Now, from here, once you've got that out, you can pull your key out and turn the car off, that won't matter. The top of the shroud around the steering column, you're just gonna pop that up, and you can pop it from the front. It's the easiest way. You sort of squeeze it and push it up, and that will literally come right off. And it actually locates with these locking tabs. So the way it slides in, goes down and in and locks in. So if you pull it reverse, it'll just slide out. And that is very simple and easy to do. And then from here, the way to pull the bottom shroud off, there is some locking tabs just under here. There's 2 of them. So you're gonna grab from the front of it on either side. So I'm gonna use my left and right hand, and you're gonna pull it towards myself and pull it down. And I'll probably do it from the further back here. There we go. And that will actually pull it down. So you can actually see here, these are the locking tabs. So what they're gonna do, when you put it in, they go up and in and lock in like that, and that holds it in place. So they slide back and down. Very simple and easy to use. Now that's probably gonna be the hardest thing to put back on, but it is very simple and easy to do. It's just a matter of a little bit of a skill, a little bit of practice, that's all you gotta do. Now, we're up to the wiring installation stage, and there's only 2 plugs that we're gonna go. It's a T-piece harness, won't void any warranty. The firmware is designed for the Holden, so it doesn't actually change anything on your car. It actually just reads information from your car. It won't affect anything else in the vehicle. It is designed just to read from your body control module and interpret the signals, and then send a signal back to the car to tell it to start. Okay, it actually doesn't change anything. So it's very, very good to use. Now, this is the first tab here, and I'm gonna get my loom. This is the first tab we're gonna show you from this side, and then we'll jump onto the other side and we'll show you that as well. All you're gonna do is this section here, there's a little locking tab on the bottom. You're gonna press it up and pull it out. So if you wanna have a look at that, that's the locking tab there. It's just a little tab, press it and pull it out. Now, a couple of things to note here. This section here on most of the Commodores, as they start to get older, is very brittle. It'll fall off, okay? This little screw section here breaks just here. It's a single screw that holds it. Be careful of that. It will come off, but it just sits back on this top section, slots onto that top section there, and it will sit. Now, it's important that you have that up there when we do the programming, because this is a receiver ring that reads around the key. So when we actually do the key reading, okay, it'll actually have to be in there, because that's what it needs to be. I've had some guys try and program it like this. That will not work. There's nothing to read. So that will hang down on some vehicles. Just be careful, put it back up. Very easy to do. So, all right, if you want to, you could glue it and things like that, but I don't suggest doing that. Just pop it back up. When you put the shroud on, it'll stay on. So I'm gonna get this out of the way just for this video. It keeps dangling. Now, this is the section here. We're gonna take the first part of the harness. This is a 6-pin or a 5-pin harness, sorry, a T-piece. It's just a T-piece. All it's gonna do is slot in. It'll only slot in one way, and then it's gonna slot into the other section where you just pulled it out of. So there you go, that's a T-piece harness, and you're gonna slot that back on. And when we put this back up, you can put this and wire it, mount it like that, and you can see the factory cloth tape looks all genuine. Put a little cable tie around that. That will hold that in its location. Very easy to do. We'll tie that up in just a sec. We're gonna do the passenger side just on the back here. So from this angle, we're gonna work now just here on the back of the steering column. I'm gonna film it from the other side, but that's the location. All right, so we're on the left-hand side, or the passenger side of the vehicle. Now, this is the plug we want here. This is your main ignition harness. There is a little red locking tab on top of it. That's got to pull out first before you can pull the system out, or the plug out, sorry. We're just gonna put a little bar or anything behind there that's gonna lever that forward. There we go. It's gonna pull that out, and then there's a little button on the rear of it. You press the button and you can pull it out. That's the button there. That's the locking tab. That's what it looks like. So it slides in and out. You just push that in. Now, when you get your T-harness again, the new one that we've got, you'll see this. This is your T-harness section. All right, it's actually just gonna plug in again, similar to the other side. It will plug in very tight and plugs back into the car. And that is literally the entire install. You'll be able to fold these plugs up into the back here in the barrel, and there you go. We're gonna tie it up like that, nice and neat. So we're gonna come back over the other side and show you how we tie that up. So now we're just gonna get these cable ties out. We're gonna try and neaten this up a little bit. If you do pop this little thing off, make sure you put your light back on. We're gonna pop that back in here. It just clicks in, just to make sure it's nice and neat. And I'm gonna hold the cables here, and you're gonna put them all up. I'm gonna take a cable tie. Once we tie this up, it'll stop the thing falling off if yours is broken. a little bit. This is an older car. This is one of the early models. All right, so that's up nice and neat. All right, that's gonna sit like that. Cut the end of the cable tie, and that will sit nice and neat. I'm gonna actually probably tie that up just to make it a little bit neater on this car. You could put another cable tie around there. We probably won't do it. This is a demo vehicle, so we're not going to show you that. Actually, I will. I'll show you. Let's go. Let's around the back here to keep it in the position, because I'm going to show you how to add some long-range remotes to this quickly, and I want this out of the way. It's purely to stop it falling down. All right, so that's going to stop it falling down. Now, that's done, guys. Now, I'm going to do the programming, and we do have the programming separate on our website, but I am going to show you again today. Now, I'm just going to quickly shut the passenger door. It is important that you have the passenger door shut, all the doors in fact shut, and I'm going to show you how to do it on the driver's side. The bonnet closed and your handbrake up, okay? There are 3 things that you need to ensure. So let's do that. So now we're at the programming stage. Last step I want to do here is the driver's door. So here's a couple of things. You're going to take your key, and when it's open, this little latch here, so you can actually press this latch in and it will simulate the door being closed. It clicks twice and that just simulates it being closed, all right? Do that and the car will think all the doors are closed. It just makes it a little bit easier for programming. You will notice you'll be able to use the key, okay? So you can hit lock and unlock. She'll work like the door's closed. So it's an easy little trick for you guys. Now, we're up to the programming stage. I'm going to show you, we're going to look at these little lights here, and we're going to use these plugs here. Now, very simple and easy to do. There's only this one here, which is a 6-pin plug, will go into the blue port, and then the one next to it will go into the, I think it's about a 20-pin port, and they'll just plug in. Now, sometimes that will flash red as soon as you plug it in. It's not going to matter if you don't see that or anything. It's very simple here. What we're going to do, then take the key and we're going to turn it to accessories, and this should go red. All right. All right, solid red. You can see that there. Very simple. Now, this can vary at this stage depending on the vehicle, the year model, the firmware that's in the car, but the firmware in these modules is all the same, and we're going to show you it does vary sometimes, so just be aware of this. When you go to reds, so ignition, you turn the key once more. At this stage, it may go green and you have to wait up to 60 seconds. And you'll hear it clicking here. It's actually trying to read. I'll actually see if it does it here. But sometimes you actually have to start the vehicle depending on the car, okay? There you go, went green. So it actually read the key and then it had a couple of clicks. So that's done. So it can take up to 60 seconds, so just be patient. But also, if it didn't actually go green, you might have to start the car because it needs to read the signal from the key to read the mobilizer data is what it's trying to do. So guys, if it doesn't program first go, don't sweat about it. It sometimes happens because there's different firmware on every single vehicle. Vehicles are different. The way you've just been operating it and how the car reads the key can vary. So we do a couple of things in order to get it programmed, and if you make a mistake, it can be reset. It's just a matter of trying to reprogram a few times, a few different ways. It does happen, nature of firmware. So if we need to reset the module and you didn't get it the first time, unplug the plugs. On the back of it is a little button. You're gonna press and hold it as we plug these in and continue to hold it until these flash red, all right? Now, these will flash red rapidly, and that's resetting the software so that it's ready to program the module to the car again, and we can actually start again and try and program it again. So, different cars, sometimes you need to start the vehicle after the accessory stage, sometimes you just sit it on ignition and it will start to learn it. It can take up to 60 seconds, so be patient and try it out a few times. It's not a big issue. Honestly, I've had hundreds of these sold and we've always had them programmed to the vehicle. I've had maybe 2 faulty modules. Very, very rare to get a faulty module, but sometimes if there's faulty firmware, you will see 2 flashes on the red when you're trying to program it. That is faulty firmware. If that happens, all it's got to do is send it back to us, we'll reflash it for you and go from there. Very rare that that happens as well. Okay, so be aware of that. Now, a couple of things. If it doesn't program first go, what you need to do, sometimes the Commodore will actually go to sleep on its firmware or actually put its body control module to sleep, so you need to wake that back up so it can read the key data. Sometimes if you've tried it too many times, the car on the body control module will stop the key firing the signal and ignore it. So you got to do a few things. If that happens, turn the vehicle on and off, lock it and unlock it, right? So lock it, that's locked at this stage, unlock it, undo your door, because it needs to sense the door opening closing, because that's how it tells the body control module to come on. So we just opened it, and you do this at the unlock stage if you want. So that's the lock stage, unlock stage, the latch will open up. All right, so now we've locked and unlocked it and opened the door. Body control module will be awake now. So let's try and program again. So we'll come in and show you here. Now, we're gonna try it again. Key in the ignition. So this key will only go one way on this car. It'll go to the red light again, and we're gonna go to greens. All right, we don't have any clicking on the module this time. So chances are, oh, there we go, green. Sometimes it doesn't make any noise, sometimes it does. It's just all different every single time. It's just programming to the vehicle and the way the module software reads the car. So that's actually learnt. A little bit different to the first time we did it, but it actually works. Sometimes, like I said, you may have to start the car rather than sit it on ignition. But wait the 60 seconds, guys. Just 60 seconds. It's not that long to do, all right? Now, once you've actually got that green light, the next step is actually to learn the level of the speedo when the car is started. That's because when you do the remote start, it knows when to release the starter, okay? That way we'll get a perfect start every time, and it's really easy to do. All we're gonna do, start the car. Once it's started, we're gonna put our hand on the foot brake, all right? And I'm gonna show you here, you're gonna have a look at these LEDs and try and get the hand in the background here. Put the foot on that, I'm gonna press the button on the side. Red light's gonna come up. Continue to hold your hand on the foot brake. It is reading. You'll get green lights here. So I'm clicking on the module, it's ready to go. That's actually learned the level at which it started. You might want to do that when the car's actually warmed up. Sometimes it makes a bit of a difference. You can learn it at different levels. So if you ever find your remote start it and it shuts down immediately, that's because it's releasing the starter too early. So all you got to do is do that stage again. Relearn the level of attack. So we can actually do that again right now. I could actually put my hand on here, press the button again, and you can actually relearn it, all right? So it's actually not doing it there. We might have to start the car again, turn it off and on, but you can relearn it at a different stage or even reprogram the whole thing to the car. So if you ever find any inconsistencies, it's just firmware, guys. Reprogram, relearn, she'll work. I promise you, she'll work. Now, at this stage, we can actually test it. The new sequence is lock, unlock, lock. Now, we had to change it from 3 locks to lock, unlock, lock for Australian vehicles because some of the Utes, some of the Wagons, they didn't work on the 3-lock press. So you're gonna try it out, lock, unlock, lock. You'll actually see the ignition start to come on and she'll start. All right, I promise you guys, I have never had one that I've done that hadn't worked. So there sometimes is aftermarket alarm systems in the car that will stop it from working. So if you have an aftermarket alarm system, that is no good, it will stop it. If you have the factory alarm system from Holden, it will work with that. It's designed to work with the factory remote start from Holden. That won't be an issue. You can actually lock, unlock, lock to turn it off. You can also touch your foot brake to turn it off. It's a couple of ways you can actually turn it off. We're gonna show you how to program some long-range remotes, which is a really cool option as well. Now, a couple of extra things we get asked all the time. If you lose your keys and add more keys to the car, it will work on all your new keys. No need to reprogram. That is no sweat. You can do all sorts of different things. You can do this if the door's locked, unlocked. But I'm going to show you how to do a takeover quickly. So this is how you would come to the car, because we get asked this a lot of the time. If it's in the remote start stage, can you actually take it over and drive away without the key? No, you need the key still, because you need your keys whenever you drive. There is a steering lock on the car, even though it's electronic, and it's also a security thing. So if you have someone come to your car and it's in the unlock stage and they get in, if they touch the foot brake without the key, it'll turn off, so they can't steal your car, right? That's a safety thing. So here it's still running, it's gonna come in, and if you want to do a takeover, all you gotta do is put the key in, turn it all the way on, right? Even if you go too far, it won't make a difference, it's not gonna grind your starter. Touch the foot brake, all right, and you can drive it away like that. No need to start it again. Drive it. When you pull up to where you are, turn it off like normal, she'll works like normal. Now let me show you again if we didn't have the key in the barrel and we touched the foot brake, because that's like someone else was getting in the car, you're gonna take it away. So this is part of the security of it. You can upgrade these to an alarm system. You do need to have that part installed. So we have to recommend an installer for that side. So here we are, remote started. If I came to the car, it was unlocked, someone got in, they touched the foot brake, shuts down. Can't drive it away. It's just a safety thing, guys. We don't want your car stolen. That's probably a good thing. So that's virtually the installation. Now I'm going to show you how to mount it up as well, because a couple of guys asked about this, and I'm also going to show you how to do long range remotes right now as well. So I'm going to show you how to pull these panels off and actually how to install some long range remotes on this car very easily. This is if you want to mount it easy. It's not a very hard thing to do. You're going to take a non-mounting pry bar, put it behind here. You're going to pull this forward. Now you don't have to pull this all the way off, but just be careful. You don't want to break it. It can get brittle. There's just a little clip here that holds it in place. There's two of them, one there, a little bit further along. You're going to pull that off, okay, guys? The next step here, you do have this side section that has to come off next, but this gets in the way. It's much easier to pull this big panel off. And the way you get this big panel off is just sort of put your hand behind it and underneath as well, and you're going to pull forward at the same time, and it'll clip off. And you're going to do that on both sides. You can do it on the left hand side as well, and she'll undo very easy. There's no screws, and just as your parking lights or your headlights, there's a little clip to undo this plug, and that will actually pull the whole panel off. All right, now one of the things just to be careful of when you're pulling this off, these little clips, these little white clips, can get stuck in the car. They actually come off. So you can see this one's come off. This one's actually missing it on the car, but sometimes they get stuck in the locations. You just want to pop them out, put them back on, so when you put it back in the car, or your clips are in place. This one has already been missing because I'd say we've worked on it, or someone's worked on it before. From here, you want to get this cover off. It's a little bit easier to work, very easy. On the back of it, you're just going to push. There's little white clips. There we go. These little clips here, you're just going to push them from the inside. You can see they locate in these holes here. I think there's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and they just push off. Very easy to do. Now that's going to give you tons of room to work here, and traditionally we mount this module like this up in here. Sometimes I think I mount it like this upside down where the cables are facing up, so it's out of the way, and we're going to tie it up behind there. I hope you can see that there all right. Put a couple of cable ties around this and mount it actually behind all these wires, and then I tie these wires up with the factory looms, so it looks nice and genuine. All right, you're not going to notice it, and it sits really, really neat. So that's how you would actually mount it neatly. Now I'm going to show you how to do the remote control long range remotes installing and programming. There is about 20 different remote kits out there depending on the range you want. There's some cool features like LCD screens, so you can actually see your car from up to 5Ks away on the remote and see if it's locked, see if alarm alerts are going off, see if it's remote started, cool your car down, everything without leaving your office, and it's still going to be nice and safe and secure. But let's show you how to do it. Super, super easy. So let's have a look at these ones. Now these are cool. These are just the base models, and these are only about $100. It comes with 2 remotes. These are the remote controls: lock, unlock, boot release, remote start. All those buttons will work on this car. An antenna, and then some antenna cable just to give you some mounting space. Now these are about a 300-meter range remote, so if you want to start them from in your house, your factory remote range will be the range of your remote. We don't change anything from that. So it will only remote start from the 10 to 20 meters up to 40 meters, depending on how far your factory remote will work. So if you want to start further than that, you do need to add long range remotes, okay? So depending on your factory range, guys, that will depend on battery power as well. If you need to change your batteries, you get longer range. So here we go. You can do this 2 ways. You can run your antenna. I suggest mounting this on your windscreen, and running it down is much, much easier, and you're going to get a lot more long range on that, and I'm going to show you that to you quickly. But let's show you how to program them, and then I'll show you how to run them. Some of you guys mount them underneath here, but you're going to get shorter range on doing that, but you certainly can do that if you think you can't run it anywhere else. So first up, this cable is just a length of cable. It's about a couple of meters. It's got 2 blue plugs. Doesn't matter which way these go, they're actually going to mount into the module. On the back of the module, the blue port. So 4-pin blue, 4-pin blue. Very simple, easy to do, can't get it wrong. This loop here, if anyone asks why that's cut, it's cut on purpose. Disregard it. It is actually done on purpose. From here, you're going to plug your antenna in. Now, depending on the remote you have, this antenna will look different. The more expensive ones have slimmer remotes, longer range, and they look a little bit cooler. The cheaper ones, unfortunately, they do look cheaper. So this is, you're going to pull this little cover off on the back on these lower range ones, and you're going to plug the 4-pin plug in, and you can put the little cover back on, And we mount these discreetly behind the rear vision mirror up the top, but you guys can mount them wherever you like, and you've got plenty of range there. And that's your receiver for the antenna, for your transmitters, which are your remote controls. So this is them here. Now, all right, these are called a G15 remote, guys. These are actually really nice looking. They're not too expensive to replace too. If you ever need new ones, they're only about 30, 40, 50 bucks, something around there, depending on the Australian dollar. And to program them to the car, I'm going to show you quickly. It's a matter of timing, but it does work. Give it a few goes. We're going to turn it on and off of the ignition 5 times, and on the 5th time, we're going to stay in the on position. So take the key, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on. And on the last one, the red light will come on. You know, take a remote, press the button, she'll flash, the module will click, take the next one, press the button, she'll click again. Now you've only got about 5 seconds to do this, and she'll click twice and exit the programming, okay? So that's it, both are programmed now. And I'm gonna show you how they work. So if we're outside the car, let's shut this up and make sure it's all good. Now lock it, there we go, locked up. And if you want, the key button on this one is the very bottom one that has the key. You're gonna press and hold it instead, all right? It'll take a couple of seconds. I think there's a little LED on the remote. It'll actually go out and you'll see it start. Now, on some of the longer range remotes, you get two-way compatibility where the remote will tell you that your car is started. If you're in the house and cannot see the car, you actually see it from the remote. So that's the difference between one-way and two-way. So one-way, you can start the car. Two-way, it'll respond and tell you it started. So that's some of the benefits of having a long-range remote. We're gonna unlock it now. Come back to the car. She's ready to go. We can take it over. If you want to shut it down, press and hold the key. You can shut it down, do the takeover, use your factory remote. Both will work, okay? Easy to do. Next step, guys, I'm going to show you quickly. If you wanted to mount the antenna correctly on the windscreen so you don't get any interference on the car, this is easy to do on a Commodore. It is nothing to fret about. I'm going to show you quickly. You're going to undo this cable. Now, you've got all this cable length. It's enough to get up to the front top of the windscreen to get some really good signal. You're going to undo the double-sided tape on the back here. Sticks really well, so just take that off and peel it. You're going to mount it up here behind the windscreen. You can mount this horizontally or vertically if you want to. We like to mount it horizontally. And there's actually a little notch here that you can actually run the cable up into. So I'm not going to stick this one because we're going to use this later. But you can actually just pull down the lining. It's a little bit tight. Excuse me. Can't see, so I'm just going to work off. So you're going to pull the lining like that, and you can go along. They're very loose on some of the cars. Some are very tight, but you're going to mount that up there nice and neat, and you're going to run it along here, all the way along into the A pillar. Now you're going to come and behind the plastic here, but the easiest way is put your hand behind this rubber tubing down here and pull this off. This is called pinch weld. It's designed to come off. And the easiest way is just to loop behind the plastic like this and then tuck it. And as you tuck it, you pull it through, and she's mounted and hidden away, no cables to be seen. Once you got it out there, guys, you're just gonna have to take the pinch weld and put it back on, and you can slide it back into place. It's very easy to do. Sorry guys, there we go. And you're just gonna make sure you run the cable down, there we go. And that will hold it in place. And once you get down to this bottom section, you're just gonna run your cables into the center, so it's nice and neat. You can do it two ways. I like to go above this little notch here, just because that sort of helps it stay in place. I guess it's up to you how you do it. It's not imperative how you actually run this, so we're going to run this through around the back there, then we can push that back on, pinch welds on, back to factory. All right guys, very easy to do. There's a little hole around the right here. It's going to run it through, there we go. And that's my cable run, okay? So that's literally how you would mount any antenna on this vehicle, and you can actually tie it up. All right, so it's not going to take you too long. It's just going to be feeding that cable through. I'll continue to do that quickly for you guys because I'm going to show you what it looks like packed up. There we go, just a little bit tight on the metal. So that's all the way through, guys, plugged in, ready to go, programmed. I'm going to tie those cables up nice and neat. Actually run it around the back here. Tie this on, and we're going to mount that up so it's nice and neat. All right guys, so you actually just bundle this up. Easiest way is to loop it a little bit. put a bit of tape around that. I think I have a bit of tape here. I'm going to show you. All right, a bit of test tape. This is a factory cloth tape that we actually use on the car, so it's a genuine style and look. Take those cables, cut them off, and that's going to be your module ready to mount. And we're going to tuck that up behind there and mount it up. So it is a little bit tight, but one of the main things you want to just make sure you're not going to do on this is have it in a position where you're going to knock the cables out or have other people knock the cables out, and that's one of the most important things. So all right, so we're going to just leave that there for the sake of the video, but you can tie that up further. That's going to sit there nice and tight. It's not going to hit on anything. And we're going to show you how to put the covers back on, because that is the trickiest part we find for all people. But all in all, honestly, if I wasn't explaining that, it's literally like a 5-minute job, man. 5-10 minutes. And just take some time on a weekend and give it a crack yourselves. It's not hard to do. If you're putting this shroud back on, the first step here is put this big cover back on. All right, you're actually going to put that on first. So here we go. And this, when you're putting it on, again, it's just all about gentle finesse. Like, line these up, push it in, she'll snap into location. Super easy. On the back here, you're just going to put this in and it slides into these little notches first. There's 3 notches. Slide into these 3 back notches, and that will actually clip in nice and neat. There you go. And then you can put this top section back on. That's the covers back on, literally. And here's the hard part. This is the shroud. Now, this one here, I've been told I make it look super easy, but it's actually harder than it looks, so let's try it out. Do it with that cover on. The hole here has to go through this little lever. You slide that in first. Now, remember to have the steering wheel upside down so you can pop this in, but we're actually going to put it on these. See these little white lugs? These are the lock-in sections that I told you about earlier in the video that slide up and in. Now, they're super tight, so when you push this up, I do it from underneath looking up. You can actually look up at the notches and see them. And you're pushing pressure back to get them looped on. So let's try this out. So there's 1, 2. All right, so that was it. Now that's on. And the next step is you can actually see them from underneath. So just make sure you look at them and put your screw in, and your screw will tighten up the back, and that's how you'll know you're in the right position. All right, so look at that. There you go, nice and tight, easy on. It should look nice around here. We've got the little bit of rubber sticking out here, so just press that back in if you got that out. There you go. Very easy to do once you know what you're doing. And I'm going to show you this top section as well, because some people have troubles with this, but this is easy as well. This back little plastic, there's a little locator in the center, and it goes into this little hole, and that will actually put it in the right position. So there you go there. And then just make sure your cables are tied up out of the way. And like I showed you at the start of the video, you got locators. It slides in like this, like on an angle and in, all right? And you're gonna make sure they slot, there's little slots on the back there. Now when you're sliding this in, it's just gentle. You gotta check both sides and make sure these rubbers are out of the way. So you can pull these out of the way. She'll slide down and in. And there we go, that's it there. And do it on the other side. And she should all slot in nice and neat. There you go. So you can actually see the gaps nice and neat. There's no pressure. Put these little rubbers back in. They can be put in after the fact. There we go. Give them a little bit of a flick. She looks normal. Done. Lock her in. Back to the start, guys. That is as easy as that installation is. I don't see why you need to pay anyone to do that, but you certainly can. But I reckon hang around with some of your mates, give it a crack on a weekend. It's a bit of a challenge, and literally should take about 5 minutes.